I look for toughness.
Physical toughness?
Mental toughness. Can you be coached? All of our coaches were very unorthodox. We coach extremely hard, a little harder than most like in today's time.
Yeah.
So we kind of look for tough families, and we look for families.
What does that mean, tough families? How can you tell? How can you identify a tough family as you?
The first month of practice. The way we coach these guys, we coach them really hard. And would you agree?
Yeah.
Were you ever intimidated by that? Did you feel like this isn't for me, or?
The first month I thought it was a little overboard, but then once I got into it, it was like easier over time.
Why did it become easier? Because you changed? Because they adjusted both?
I think we both adjusted, and our relationship just got better over time.
We're here with Cason, 6th grader, 2-guard.
Yes.
And Director of Cali Rebels, Sarkis.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So you guys are here today at the West Coast Elite Basketball Tournament here in where? Garden Grove. Garden Grove.
Yep.
At MAP. What brings you here?
You know, we've been supporting West Coast Elite for the last 7-8 years.
Yep.
And they throw good events. We have good relationships with them. They always take care of us.
Yep.
And they field really good teams. And so we've always supported them, and they've always reciprocated support to us. So it's a good relationship.
You're on the clock today.
Yeah.
You have to play in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I have to let you go soon. But I want to get into it if we want to do a speed round with you guys, yeah?
Sure.
So you brought along one of your star players today. Why'd you bring him along?
You know, he's been with me since day one, since we started our first 11U team.
Which was like years ago.
Well, we started our first 11U team about 3 years ago.
Yep.
We've always done like 13U and 14U.
Understood.
We kind of branched out to the lower levels as time went on.
Because Cali Rebels has been around for
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
So what drew you guys down lower than your typical offering?
You know, to be honest, I don't really believe in 11U and 10U club basketball.
Okay.
And we have a bunch of kids that are just chasing the ball. They can barely get it up to the hoop.
Yeah.
I didn't really necessarily call that basketball, but as things have evolved and kids are training now and the skill sets have gone up, and now kids can do so much more on the basketball court.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
As kids can do more on the basketball court now, it made sense with the demand that we had to start to branch out to that 12U, 11U, 10U.
Is that
area.
something that's happening only in Southern California, or is it around the country, the world?
I mean, basketball is the biggest sport in the world, I think, besides soccer, you know, worldwide.
What do you think happens in the next 10 years as a result of that? Because it's changed. I mean, when you and I were growing up, it was a very different landscape in terms of basketball training for that age group, older. What do you think happens? And I want to hear from both of you. Cason, I want to hear from you in terms of what do you think happens to basketball? What do you both think of happens with basketball in the next 10 years?
Well, I think kids just get more and more skilled. Yeah. You know, I think the one thing is kids are getting more skilled on the offensive side, but it seems like on the youth side, the defense is as much of a priority.
Is it not, or
it's
is?
not. It's not, because kids train with trainers, but there aren't any trainers defensive specific.
So is that what you focus on?
I'm huge on defense in the club, and I don't train at all.
Yeah.
But in our practices, the first 45, 50 minutes, it's all man-to-man defense. You don't see a lot of man-to-man defense in the youth
You're
world.
known for that around here.
We're known for that around here. Yeah. So
what do you like, the offensive side of the ball or the defensive? I mean, you're a 2-guard, so that means you're jacking it up from deep.
I mean, I like both, but I mean, I would choose from either one. It's better to get both on each side so you can play each side and stay on the court.
Lefty or righty?
Righty.
Have you always been a righty?
Yes.
How are you going to your left hand?
Okay. I mean, he sometimes gets on me for not using my left hand, but we're getting there.
Now, do you like creating at all 3 levels? Are you more of a 3-point shooter? Are you a drive and dish guy, a driving guy? You like your mid-range or your floater? Talk to me about it.
I'm more of a 3-pointer or like an attack distributor guy, trying to get the ball to my teammates they can score.
So I'm going to ask him the same question. You guys have been together since you first started to organize basketball at club level.
Yes.
What connects you two to each other? Because it's not always the right fit between coach, trainer, child. What's the difference?
So my brother used to play. He joined first, and then I just started connecting with him and all the other coaches. So then I decided to join because I didn't have a team to play with.
So were you, during practice, were you just down there shooting around? You saw him? Like, how did you go from your brother knew him to he being one of his stars, if not the star?
So he was actually the one that would come up to me and then like tell me like if I wanted to play with him or not. And then me and my dad kind of figured it out to make time, and then I started playing with him.
Can you identify talent at an early age?
yes and no.
Explain that dichotomy.
You know, it's tough. I mean, some kids really they kind of sprout super early and die off later on.
You've seen that happen.
Oh, I've seen that all the time. It happens
These
all
kids
the
are
time.
super ballers at 10, 11, 12 years old and then plateau and
They'll
they're done.
fizzle out, right?
Yeah.
And then there's kids that are just not very good, and then all of a sudden their senior year they'll shoot up. Obviously, genetics has so much to do with what goes on.
Yeah.
And again, so you can see some kids that weren't skilled, you would never want them on your team, and then you see them the sophomore year, and all of a sudden like, I want to play with that guy, and he's like, I don't know if I want to play with you. He's getting recruited. He got no love at a young age. And then there's some guys that got a lot of love at a young age that fizzle out and just kind of fall off the face of the planet.
So how do you identify the right fit for you? Are you looking for a great athlete you can train? Are you looking for someone who will fit into your system? What is it?
I look for toughness.
Mental, physical toughness?
Mental toughness. Can you be coached? All of our coaches were very unorthodox. We coach extremely hard, a little harder than most like in today's time.
Yeah.
So we kind of look for tough families, and we look for families.
What does that mean, tough families? How can you tell? How can you identify a tough family as you?
The first month of practice. The way we coach these guys, we coach them really hard. And would you agree?
Yeah.
Were you ever intimidated by that? Did you feel like maybe isn't for me, or?
The first month I thought it was a little overboard, but then once I got into it, it was like easier over time.
Why did it become easier? Because you changed? Because they adjusted both?
I think we both adjusted, and our relationship just got better over time.
And I think that comes down to the key word is trust.
Trust.
If coaches can develop trust with their young players, then we can coach a little extra hard because the players know we care about them.
That's a word that's bandied about all the time, trust.
Yeah.
But it's an ephemeral idea. How do you, or maybe it's as simple as maybe it's as easy and as utilitarian as it's used, as it is ubiquitous.
Yeah.
How do you establish trust in players, a real trust in players that then you can leverage to coach them in a hard way?
I think the biggest thing is that players need to know that your background is of basketball. Right?
Well, explain what that means.
Either you played, only playing doesn't make you a good coach, and only coaching doesn't make you a good coach. Being a student of the game makes you a good coach.
How do you convey that to 10, 11, 12-year-olds? How did he convey that to you?
Probably he was just like, he showed us what to do, defense onside, meaning like he's showing what to do on each side, every single point of the game, every single little detail you need to know. Most coaches I've played with don't usually do that, but like he gives us the little details to show what we need to do to fix everything.
And you were able to identify that in him pretty early.
Pretty early. I coach at Foothill High School. We're a pretty high-level program.
Yeah.
And I've coached at
Santa Margarita as well?
I've done it. I coach at Santa Margarita as well. So I've been around a lot of high-level basketball.
Yep.
And I've been around a lot of good mentors. Guys that have won at a high level, guys that teach, they demand from their players, they hold their players accountable. They don't bend on their standards. They treat the top player just like the last player that comes off the bench.
You do the same thing.
I do the same exact thing.
Have you seen him do that?
Yes, he does.
And when you see that, how do you respond to it? Because sometimes you might want special or deferential treatment, or maybe you don't.
I think it's fine because like at the end of the day, he'll still show love to everybody on and off the court. So like even if he doesn't, like you just gotta go to work, do your thing, and just like give him more trust and like yeah.
When you find a player that you think, oh, I can coach this kid, how excited do you get?
I get super stoked because I know I can basically push him to his brink and he won't give up on me.
And you're developing young men, not just in basketball, but in life.
Yeah, basketball ends for everybody at some point, right? And I think the skills and the mindset you develop in any sport continues on. I know people always say that, but it's really true. I mean, if you can handle a 40-year-old man as a 12-year-old getting up in you and, you know, speaking to you in ways that you're not used to and sometimes it doesn't feel good, and you can be resilient and push through that and not sort of shut down, I mean, you're going to be able to do that the rest of your life because you've been dealing with it. It's like, yeah, you've been dealing with it all your life. So
is there more of a need for that now, less of a need for that now in this generation? Is it the same as it was a generation ago? Are there people in this generation that, like every generation says, this generation's in trouble until they're not? Like, or are we uniquely in need of strong, gritty, tough, resolved kids, young men?
I'm not a psychologist. I don't have any data to back what I'm about to say. The only data I have is what I've experienced in a small, in a small pool of people. But, when you talk to a lot of these coaches out there, they're experiencing the same issues with their kids: lack of mental toughness, lack of detail. lack of care. Like, we want to win games, and the way I see it, and you know, it's really changing in our club. Kids just want to play and get minutes and score 20 points versus go and get a W, right?
Which is more important to you?
They go hand in hand. If you want to win, you're going to be good. If you just want to be good, you're not going to win.
Say that again.
If you just want to be good, you won't win. But if you want to win, you'll do everything it takes to win, which in that process, you'll just get better naturally.
I think we have our next T-shirt right there.
Yeah.
Cason, what do you think of this? Do you agree?
I agree with that, yeah. But, like, I've seen it with my teammates that have left and stayed. Some of them just want to go play work and, like, don't listen to coach. That's why they all left. But, like, for me and all my other teammates, I have 2 teammates that have stayed for, like, the longest time. We actually trust Sarkis and, like, listen to his system and his details that we need to learn from.
And so you've been 3 years together, is that correct?
Yes.
So what's next other than this game in 15 minutes?
Getting to the next level. Basically trying to find out what I need to do to get to the next level. He's done a great job of doing that. I've definitely seen a big step from me and my teammates of getting to the higher level.
So are you playing Cali Rebels only this year? Like, are you playing on a school team, other clubs? Like, what does that look like?
I played with a different club earlier in the year, but I left because, like, they didn't really give me much to show from. So, yeah, this is the only team I'm playing with right now.
Is that one of the value propositions you offer? So, what is that? Why do people want to come? Why should they want to come train with you or play with you versus all the other clubs out there?
I mean, I hate to do comparisons, but I can kind of tell you what we're good at.
Please.
And what we're good at is that our entire staff are all varsity coaches in real time. So former players and varsity coaches. And when you coach at that level, you truly understand what to do to prepare a kid for that level.
Yeah. Versus,
you know, I think a lot of clubs will say we're preparing you for high school, but 90% of their coaches have never coached in a high school game before. Yeah. So, like, how are you preparing someone for something that you've never done before? Yes, you've played it, but teaching it is very different, and the nuances of, like, breaking it down, that's an actual skill, and I think we bring that skill to the table.
So that
coaching staff.
That connective tissue totally makes sense now if you're talking to parents, but for a lot of parents, they might not be able to understand, and if there's more, and I think there probably is, to extrapolate on the connective tissue between club coaching and high school coaching. You're able to do both. You do both. How does that work if you're running 2 at the same time? Or
I mean, I'm able to do both. Yeah. You know, and the AAU game is a little different than the high school game.
In what sense?
AAU game is a lot of, like, up and down, trapping, kind of chaotic basketball, and high school is more surgical.
Which is better for a child to be able to be predisposed to go to the next level?
I think it's both. I think you have to have an up and down game, but you also have to have a game where you can control and make kids play in a system, because the issue you find in AAU, kids that don't play for the right coaches, when they get to high school, they can't retain information.
Say that again.
They cannot retain information.
Interesting.
And so when they come from a fast-paced game, and all of a sudden they got to retain a set or retain a concept, or, you know, when we guard Cason, we're going to yellow him, which is like a drop coverage. Or you guard Coach Cara, you have to read him on the ball screen. Well, if you don't do that early, kids can't comprehend that. And so it takes away from your concepts and your scouting, and it has to be retaught. And I'm not saying that we don't reteach our kids at the high school level, but if you're ahead of the game, if you have a little cheat code at the youth level, you retain that much faster. That gives you opportunities to get on the court a lot more. So.
Is there ever any danger of, and I know we're close to clock, so
it's okay. We got time. We can keep going.
So is there ever any danger of burnout? People play 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months a year round. There's some parents who have kids who are just coming into this world thinking, I don't want my kids to play year-round basketball. It's too much. And what you're saying is more exposure is probably good.
I think you need breaks. I think you need breaks.
Okay.
I think when you, because, you know, usually you play every other weekend.
Yes.
Two weekends out of the month, you got a break.
Yeah.
Right? But the problem is when parents have their kids on multiple teams, and those kids are playing every single weekend, getting yelled at in an environment where it's just chaotic, like, they get no breaks. And I find those kids that play multiple weekends, multiple teams, they really burn out. And the biggest thing that people don't think about is the injury factor. And you'll have a lot of good players that played a lot at the youth level, and the sophomore year, all of a sudden ACL goes out, or, you know, torn ACL or torn Achilles. And all of a sudden it's like, well, what happened? Well, you didn't take care of your body, right? And you're just overdoing it, and now it's catching up to you. So I don't think you could play year round, but again, you get 2 weekends off. And if you take those 2 weekends off to go be a kid, skateboard, surf, go play football, whatever you want to do, like, that'll help you recover. kids recover fairly fast. They're very durable, right? But they're not durable when you're going to practice 2 times a week, playing 20 games a weekend. There's no durability. There's nothing you can do to make yourself durable because people don't have access to all the medical things they need in order to stay, fresh. So
Well put.
yeah.
Cason, you're in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play other sports? Are you interested in other sports? Is basketball your jam at this point?
I play flag football sometimes. I played yesterday.
How'd it go?
QB, we won by 40. I mean, we're playing kids that are like half my size, so like it's not really fair.
Huh.
So like, yeah, we're playing teams that are probably younger than us, trying to play up.
You doing a lot of Heismans, a lot of stiff arms, a lot of...
Nah.
Okay.
That's a flag if we do that.
Oh, interesting. Didn't know that. Now I know. I'd get kicked out of the game.
And what people don't know about Cason is that he's in 6th grade, but since I've had him, he's played a year up. So I have 2 players, Julian Arzola and Cason Dow, who play on our top 7th grade team, who are a year down. We play everybody like either up or their own age. We don't play anybody down, ever.
Is that, you talk about not playing anyone down for people who don't know. Talk about how common that is in today's game.
It's getting extremely common. People are holding back and reclassing and all that stuff, either up or down. I think there's positives, there's negatives to it. My biggest thing is if you're going to reclass and hold somebody back in 8th grade, don't play them in 7th grade because they're holding back. Play them in 8th grade, play them up, right? Because, of course, if he goes plays with 6th graders, he's going to dominate. If he goes plays with 5th graders, he's going to dominate. But that's a false sense of reality. And at that next level, you're playing guys 3, 4, 5 years older than you. So if you're going to hold back,
and you've seen that as a high school coach.
You see it all the time.
Cason, when you first started playing a year up, were you nervous about it, scared? Was it daunting?
Yeah, it was a little fast-paced for me. I mean, I've done it for basically my whole life, though. But, like, with Sarkis, it made it a little bit easier because, like, I have teammates I can trust so we can go to work and have other options to go to when somebody's having a down game.
How long did it take you to adjust?
Probably a year or 2. I mean, like, you start to get in the rhythm of it, pick up with the speed, and get in the lab, trying to get to work.
Okay. And I know we're closing off because I know you got to go warm these guys up. Yeah. What's next for you as you build, a pretty extraordinary program in Cali Rebels?
Retirement. Hang out with my girlfriend,
Congratulations on both fronts.
Have fun with my family. No, but just continue to grow. I think getting our message out there. Our high school.
What's the message?
Hoops. Make it about basketball. Make youth basketball about basketball.
Versus what?
That's a whole different ball game, man.
Anything you want to dip into, or not at all?
Not really.
Not
right now, but
okay. We'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. So, make it about hoops and
make it about hoops. Coaching hoops, making it about the kids. You can find directors sometimes, even myself, kind of, railing off with like getting our egos in the way. But at the end of the day, just keep it pure, and then hopefully, continue to grow our youth side. Our high school brand run by John and Maguna. It's a huge brand. We got a lot of Division I basketball players, lots of college basketball players there, and we throw great NCAA events. And he does a good job there, and hopefully we can continue to grow that and get kids seen and put them on the right platform and continue to help young men fulfill their dreams. So
when we have more time, we'll talk about more things in depth and breadth.
Yeah.
Right now, I really appreciate you joining us, Coach.
Thank you.
Fantastic meeting you. I look forward to great things from you in the future.
Thank you.
Guys, wonderful time. I know you have to get going.
Yep.
Stretch out, kick butt. Coach Sarkis Kara.
Yes.
And Cason Dow of 6th grade, 2-guard, right-hander. How many points a game? 20, 30, 40 points a game? What do you drop?
Wishes.
Maybe 5 to 7. I mean, I pass the ball a lot, and then I can have my other teammates score usually.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Talk to you next time.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thanks.